Back, Kevin Colbert spoke this week, talked about a lot of stuff, but mostly quarterback situation. In a perfect world, he hopes that Ben Roethlisberger can be back healthy and effective. And with that defense, that could be something magical. But what happens if he isn't? He says he's comfortable with his backups. Colin, are you?
Well, not as comfortable as Kevin Colbert. I'm a big Mason Rudolph fan, probably more than most. That being said, what's the harm in bringing a veteran into camp and make him, even if you have no intentions on signing him, right? And the guy's not going to make the football team, and it's kind of unsaid that behind the scenes you know that. What's the harm in bringing him in and trying to light a fire under Mason Rudolph? I don't understand that. I don't understand why you closed that door in February.
Well, I'm not that comfortable with the Steelers quarterback situation. I'm not even comfortable with Ben's prognosis with his elbow. I'll believe it when I see it as far as how healthy he is. Now, as far as the backups go, I think you saw a sliver of truth when Kevin Colbert, was talking about how comfortable he is with the situation. He was so comfortable he felt the need to extol the virtues of J.T. Barrett,
right,
who, despite their quarterback issues throughout the course of 16 weeks of the season, they didn't feel the need to sign until the very end of the year. So if you were so comfortable with all these other guys, then why did you go out and get him, and now do you think he's better than they are? It's like the way he was talking about Barrett, it's like they want to make him the backup. So I thought that was kind of belying the case he was trying to make.
As somebody who covers hockey, guys, I am very used to hearing teams be evasive about injuries. But the fact that they still will not acknowledge what kind of surgery Ben even had is incredibly bizarre to me. I don't know what's going on with that. That's weird. But the fact of the matter is, if Ben's healthy, they could be pretty good. Super Bowl team, I don't know about that. I think they need some pieces on offense. They could be pretty good. But they're betting on him because if anything is wrong with him, it's a 500 team again. I think that's the way it is.
I agree. And, Josh, that's a great point. That I think that there are too many Pittsburghers, too many Steeler fans whose default is set at Ben's going to come back and he's going to be throwing it all over the place. If you saw a baseball pitcher clutch their arm and leave the mound, would you be so certain that in just months' time he'd be back using his right arm to throw with the same velocity, to throw with the same control, to put that many miles on his arm, especially at that age?
At age 38.
Right. I'm not seeing it. Well, he might do it, but the default can't be Ben's going to be okay because someone else had that same surgery years ago.
And Ben can't block for himself. Ben can't throw to himself. The running backs are still a question, and they've got a hole at tight end. So even if he does come back healthy, I don't know if he's got the weapons around himself to really help all that much.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because they don't have a first-round pick. They don't have a third-round pick. They got to get all this stuff done. We'll find out what happens. Should be an interesting offseason. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Astros, just how bad this has gotten and where it fits in with some of the other things we've talked about, like steroids and Pete Rose. That's next.